Well, hello, friends. It's Mark Holmes with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys, well, I wouldn't be down here on Friday nights having a ball talking with you guys about what else our favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. And boy, was that win last week much needed. How you doing, Robert? You're the first one in the house tonight. There's Tyrone the One. Jamaris White, how's everybody doing tonight? How are you feeling about our Dallas Cowboys? Extreme Archery's in the house. Hot dog. We got everybody. Jameson Gods. Love the show. Appreciate the love. Taylor Fox, Aaron, Alex. Okay, everybody's jumping in. Mr. ESPN, Sky High. All right. You know, the last couple of weeks, I've been feeling like something's been missing. And it's been all of our buddies, the Giant fans. Or should I say, the Giant trolls. You know, I feel like they were family, friends, guys that we could count on week after week being right here, talking trash about our Dallas Cowboys. I mean, do you remember when they were talking about how they swept us 3 games in a row, how our team was terrible, how Eli Manning, the Super Bowl MVP, Eli Manning, with Brandon Marshall, that offense was going to be unstoppable. And that defense, oh man, they were going to make Elliott cry. They were going to make Dak Prescott look like an average quarterback. I miss those days. Guys, Giant fans, if you're out there, we miss you. We really do. Don't worry. We won't ridicule you guys about your team being pathetic. We understand. We've been there. We went from the playoffs to 4-12, and we know how much love you guys showed us, how much sympathy. And we want to return that to you in your time of need. I mean, starting off 0-3, it's hard. It breaks my heart. But we are here at the Jobu Sports Report to give you guys a hug. So come on back. You're with family. So what's up, Michael? F the Giants, okay. Sergio, Vito, Michael, you, me, Sandman, Ronaldo. How's everybody doing? Harry, Brandon Green, Giant Stink, okay. He's still going to support you, though, man. Hey, come on. We're all family. We're all football fans. We can't all be great teams year after year. Somebody's got to be the whipping post, and it just happens to be the Giants right now. I mean, I can't think of anybody better to have that. In fact, let me get Joe Boo a refill here, and I'll pour one out for you Giant fans because I really care about you guys. I miss you guys. So here, Giant fans that are missing in action, this one's for you. And of course, Joe Boo's got to get his refill. And Joe Boo, if you don't mind, I'm going to get a little rum and coke to get started with tonight. So, how's everybody doing tonight? We got some bad news with Sean Lee. The hamstring is a little worse than what was let on. It's going to be basically a game time decision on whether or not he's going to be able to play. And I am, for one, thinking that Sean Lee's had hamstring problems before. And I don't want this to be a long-term thing. And the thing about hamstrings, it's like once you get it, it's easy to re-aggravate it. And I'm afraid that if it's bothering him a bit, because Sean Lee is a guy who is like a beast when he runs. And he lets it all loose. I remember when he messed up his hamstring in New Orleans. I remember being on the sidelines seeing him warm up. And the way he sprints, believe me, I'm surprised more things don't rip on him the way he goes. Because he is like balls to the wall like a madman running. So I'm almost at the point of saying, yeah, this game is important like they all are, but it's more important to have him for the whole season than it is for one game and risk getting him really injured for the long haul. We've got Justin Durant, who's going to be in there playing as well. And thank God for Jalen Smith. And you got to be happy for Jalen Smith. for Jalen Smith to be second leading tackler on the team, from where he was, man, we really lucked out on that one, because if it weren't for Jalen Smith, we'd literally have nobody out there with Hitchens being hurt. Now, hopefully, Hitchens will be back, by week 8, get off injured reserve and won't have lost too much and stuff, and we can get ready for the run down the field. But hopefully, that'll be okay. Now, we did get Nolan Carroll back at practice, and we also got a lot of Wuse back at practice as well. But, got to tell you, Nolan Carroll so far has been a disappointment. Robert, Shannon Sharp, I think it's in his contract that he has to pick against the Cowboys. He's my favorite commentator, Mr. Ed. Skip. What you talking about, Skip? Come on. Shannon Sharp is pretty much always wrong when it comes to the Cowboys. But I agree with you, Anthony. He is delusional. Giants fans, come out from wherever you are. I love that. So, of course, the new team in town that's doing a whole lot of talking, of course, is the Eagles, and we should have Tommy Eagle on here in a little bit talking about his Eagles and their great win and stuff. So we'll actually deal with them. And then, of course, we've got the Redskins and their talking heads talking about a Super Bowl. But here's the great thing about football right now. Let's think about this. We're only on week 4, and there's only 2 undefeated teams. We went from the Chicago Bears beating the Pittsburgh Steelers last week to getting their lunch handed to them this week by Green Bay. So, which team is which? Are the Pittsburgh Steelers that bad? And that the Bears actually are better than we think? Or are the Bears really trash and just happen to have a good game? It's so up and down right now that there's not a difference between good teams. I'm not ready to say that the Washington Redskins are, as good as they were against the Raiders. I actually think maybe the Raiders aren't as good as everybody thinks they are. They were pretty much anointing them as a Super Bowl favorite. And this is the thing that I truly, truly love, is how much the experts are wrong. Flat out. Take a look at the preseason forecast. When you looked at almost all of the Super Bowl lines, they had the Giants basically in the NFC Championship game against the Green Bay Packers. A lot of them didn't even pick the Cowboys to even make the playoffs. And of course, everybody had the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl because, well, hell, that's a safe bet. Sandman, I'm with you on this as far as Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis basically got put into the fire the week before, ended up having an interception right there. That put him second if you were on the team last year in interceptions, and played really well this past week. At this point, with Carroll coming back from injury, and with Carroll hasn't really shown me a whole lot, I think you go with Jordan Lewis, because Jordan Lewis is more of your future than Nolan Carroll will be. Have Carroll in a backup role. Let him get his head straight from the concussion and stuff, and keep Lewis on there learning. Because if you look at where Anthony went last year, he started out trial by fire, played okay, but he got better. And by the end of the season, per yards given up per play, he ended up being one of the best cornerbacks in the league. So, yeah, keep him out there. And I would also start playing Woods a lot more over Jeff Heath. Start getting him more experience, bring him up bit by bit by bit, and get him to the point where he can take over. Because there's certain guys out there that, to me, are always playmakers. They always have a nose for the football. That's not to say that other guys don't, but for whatever reason, they're always in the right position. They're always laying that hit. They're always seeming to get the ball, and I think Xavier Woods is that guy, and I think that's what we need on this team. He's kind of like a young Richard Sherman without the attitude, but when he gets out there, he's going to knock some snot out you, and I love watching people that will knock the snot out of you, even though, of course, we're kind of looking at trying not to kill people out on the field. Whoa! Thank you very much. Wow, Morpheus.
And the only thing else I got to say is,
thank you very, very much for that super chat, Morpheus. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate that, because that will go into the kitty to get us a new computer, so that way we can get even clearer pictures, although that might not be a good thing with this base. Not everybody's meant for high def. Thank you very much. For 4 tough TDs in the bank. I really appreciate it. 4 tough TDs is money in Joe Boo's pocket. I appreciate that, man. That's fantastic. Um, I'm hoping that we have a good game. But the thing that I talked about a little bit yesterday, when you look at this, we're coming off a short week. We played Monday night, and a very emotional game against the Cardinals on the road. Keep this in mind. We played on the road. So that means we were still midnight in Arizona. Now, granted, it was a short flight back to Dallas, but they weren't sleeping in their own beds until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So we then turn around and have to play the Rams, who played on Thursday night. They get extra rest to go against us? Okay. You look at that and say, okay, well, yeah, maybe that just happens. But then to turn around that the Green Bay Packers played what amounts to a scrimmage last night, and we play them next week too? After they get extra rest? Come on now. NFL, you're kind of doing us dirty there, don't you think? I don't know that anybody else has that situation. And maybe it was just an accident and they just didn't realize they were doing it. But that's some dirty crap to turn around and have us play 2 games against 2 teams with extra rest, and one of them with us being on a short week. But hey, that's the way it is. It's everybody against the Dallas Cowboys. Well, here's the thing, Dane Watts. Thank you. I don't remember seeing you on here, so if you're first time in here, I appreciate it. That definitely will be our defense is going to be key for the season. Quite frankly, that defense ended up helping keep us in there long enough for our offense to finally grab hold. And it's going to be the pass rush. And I did a video just before I went on about 2 key things that help your team get to the Super Bowl. And these are 2 stats that you can almost take to the bank and it will determine if you're a good team or not. 1 is the turnover ratio, and 2, it's sacks. If you look at the teams that have a lot of sacks right now, almost to a man, Jacksonville with 13, the Cowboys and Kansas City, we both have 11 sacks in the season. They're all your best records in football. And, when you look at the Jaguars don't have really a great quarterback, but they're +6 in the turnover ratio. And they're killing people. Look what they did to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, granted, they were playing at their home field in England, but those things are very, very important. And thus far, the greatest thing I love about Dak Prescott is he doesn't turn over the ball. And a lot of people have been talking about Dak Prescott. He's hit the rookie wall. He's slumping. The sophomore slump. He's slumping. He's not the same player that he was, yada, yada, yada. But let's just look at his stats, though, thus far. 62.6% completions, okay? Not spectacular. He was 67 last year. 689 yards in 3 games, 5 TD passes, and 2 interceptions with an 88.9 rating. So, that number has dropped a little bit, and he's throwing, 2 interceptions. That's half of what he threw all of last year. And if we thought he was only going to throw 4 again this year, well, the chances of that happening were pretty much slim or none. But take a look at the defenses that we faced. Denver's defense may be the best defense we face all year. The Cardinals defense, that's another really good defense. And even though the Giants are basically getting left on the field too long because their offense stinks, that's another really good defense. So that's 3 really good defenses that he's played against and still has showed up. And I got to tell you, to me, Dak Prescott was the reason, him and DeMarcus Lawrence, was the reason that game turned around, because Zeke didn't seem like he was getting going. Didn't seem like we were getting guys blocked up in there. It seemed like guys weren't getting open. And then all of a sudden you see, it's just like he said, F you, Joe Boo. I'm going to do it myself. And he rushed in for that touchdown. And it seemed like from that point on, everybody jumped on his back and followed. You saw Dez Bryant kind of go ahead and bull rush that pass play. He didn't get a whole lot of catches, but I got to tell you, for him to man up and basically carry 5 people into the end zone, that's toughness. And that was basically following the example led by Dak. And all of a sudden, then you start seeing Zeke begin to eat. He's beginning to start churning up some yardage. So this team is going to go as far as Dak Prescott takes them. Now, a lot of people were telling you that it was Zeke Elliott is the reason why this team won. Without Zeke Elliott, you're nothing. But you know what? That's a false narrative. That's just great talk on radio and stuff. But take a look at teams that have had great running backs that haven't done jack crap. Adrian Peterson. If that were the case, then Adrian Peterson would have 3 or 4 Super Bowls. Chris Johnson with Tennessee, fantastic rusher, but they never made the playoffs, over 2,000-yard season. It's still the quarterback. And Zeke hasn't really gotten going, but yet Dak is still leading them. So you're seeing this offense evolve more where it's not relying completely on Zeke Elliott. It's really relying, like it should be, on the quarterback. And I feel great about the guy that we've got out there. To me, he's got a level head on him. He's a team leader. He works his ass off. Everybody likes him, and he leaves it all on the field. And I don't know how much more you could ask for a quarterback. I think he's got all of the intangibles, and I feel great about him because as much as people wanted to give up on the team last week, Dak basically willed that team to win. How about him? How about him? Are you how about them Cowboys and change the name, or are you another guy in here? Either way, welcome to the show. Dak is very soft-spoken, and he definitely leads by example. And he's almost like a regular guy. You get a lot of quarterbacks out there that get arrogant, and I'm hearing that from people that I know that have worked with him. Like Aaron Rodgers is very uppity, and he's a pain in the ass. Dak Prescott is like a down-to-earth, regular guy that, you could have a conversation with. He's not one that's going to let it all go to his head. And I think part of that maybe is because he's always been the underdog. He hasn't been the guy that said, oh, he's going to be the next Joe Montana. It's always been he was the backup, and he had to work his way in there because somebody else got hurt. And he had to work his ass on there to get there. Clorix Bleach, how you doing tonight? Zeke has gained some weight. Well, it still hasn't slowed him down that much. I think the part of the problem I think with Zeke is, one, we've actually been playing really good run-stopping defenses. Two, the NFL has fucked up his head. With all of the stuff that's been going on, from week to week, we've got, of course, a hearing next week with the NFL. The stress has got to be killing him. The things that people have said about him and everything else, the narrative, I got to be honest, I'm not sure that I would be able to function if I was dealing with that stuff every day. Alex, you hit the nail on the head. And I think part of that problem, it's the offensive line. Chaz Green, he's a little nicked up as usual. He's not as good as Ron Leary. And I think that's the weak link. And the other thing that you also notice that's happening is teams are attacking. They're doing like run blitzing. What they're trying to do is, instead of waiting for the offensive line basically to maul them and drive them downfield, they're penetrating. They're getting upfield, trying to get in the gaps and get him before he has a chance to run, because they know if he gets a head of steam on him and he's going north and south, he's going to be hard to stop. Your best chance is sell out, get in between the gaps, and try and get past the offensive lineman and make him have to make a move, because he's not as good of a running back having to cut back and forth. He is north and south. Give me the ball. I'm going right here, right now. But as soon as he gets the ball, there's guys in his face. So I can't blame that on Zeke Elliott. That is some line blocking and playing against good defenses. And I'm not worried about Zeke. He'll be fine as the season goes along, as long as the NFL doesn't get him suspended. How you doing, Alex? Carla, how you doing tonight? Yeah, Red Eye, the offensive line definitely needs to do a better job than what they've been doing. But again, you've been playing really good competition. I mean, they're getting paid on the other side just like we are. So, you got to understand that's football. Well, the interesting thing is, of course, we're playing the Rams. The talking heads will tell you that the Rams are surprising at 2-1. And I'll say it's not surprising that they beat the Colts and that they beat the 49ers. And they'll tell you that, they're the 7th leading scoring team in the NFL. Yeah, but again, 2 of those wins were against the Colts and the 49ers, 2 of the bottom dwellers right now at 0-3, and the other loss was to the Washington Redskins. And I'm not ready to say that the Washington Redskins are, the 80s Redskins like everybody else is, because they've got 2 victories. I still think the Washington Redskins are a dumpster fire, but time will tell. So let's not get too crazy on that. Now, DeMarcus Lawrence, my buddy, And let's see, where is that? DeMarcus Lawrence has been having a field day, being the NFL sack leader. Yeah. Can you smell what DeMarcus Lawrence is cooking? Um, Part of the thing with him is he's actually been playing against inferior talent on the offensive tackles, which is okay. He's still got 6.5 sacks. I don't know if you heard you playing against. He'll get tested a little bit more this week. The tackle for the Rams is I believe he used to play with Cleveland. I want to say I may be wrong. I can't. His name escapes me right now. About 36 years old. I still think that he's going to be able to do a pretty good job against him as well. I don't know that he'll get 3 sacks, but we definitely want to put some pressure on Jared Goff. And Jared Goff, I'm going to have to say I owe him an apology. Because last year, before the season started, I said, Jared Goff, I think is going to be a bust. And when you looked at him last year, he certainly looked like he had bust written all over him. But what a change in coaching does. Jeff Fisher, as his coach, didn't do too much. With Sean McVay as his coach, night and day difference. And he actually looks like an NFL quarterback right now. But we're going to need to put some pressure on him. And I think if we put some pressure on him, he'll make some mistakes and we'll be fine. Todd Gurley's been playing against not some of the best run defenses. And he's been talking a little bit of smack about our Cowboys, saying he was definitely going to give us a bit. So we'll see if we can go ahead and stop him. Hitchens is on injured reserve, so he won't be eligible to come back until week 8. But he'll be fine when he does come back. Well, Clinton Reese, actually, the last word we had on Rico was, of course, that he was still having concussion symptoms, which wasn't good because that was still like 4 or 5 weeks out. He's definitely on injured reserve. We'll see what happens come week 8 when he's eligible to come back. How you doing tonight, Dallas girl? Yeah, after this week, guys, looks like we have our buddy here. You guys know him as the moron. Our
How's that? And that's too dark. Now listen, before we say anything, there's something I got to say. If there's any Redskins fans out there, listen, I'm going to give your clueless fan base a reality check. The Raiders historically play like shit when they travel cross country. So don't feel all high and mighty because you won that game. And then you beat the Rams. You're still trash. You belong down in the basement with the Giants.
Okay.
Anyway, hi, Cowboys fans.
How are we doing? In case you guys don't know, this is our favorite Eagle fan, Tommy the Moron. And he's here to give us a little insight on the good old Giants and Eagles. You know, it's sad, Tommy. All my buddies, all those Giant fans, they've literally gone bye-bye. They've gone completely missing. I can't find them anymore. Have you seen any of them?
You know, well, I had to take a shit earlier.
Okay, come on now. It's a family program.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that they disappeared the way they did because, you know, they talk so much shit when they're winning games. You know what I mean? And after team's down, they don't want to be anywhere.
I know you. I know. Hey, I got it all summer long, all preseason long, and they were counting. Oh lordy! And now can't even man up. But I feel actually bad for those Giants because I tell you what, this week for them, this is if they don't win against Tampa Bay, this is like a team-killing game. I think that all of a sudden, if they lose this one, that team is literally going to implode. The coach will be gone, and there'll be major changes and just basically start rebuilding.
You know, and this is a game that they could easily lose, even if they play well. Tampa's up and coming,
Yeah.
They haven't played the season win-wise, but don't matter. Giants ain't winning more than 5 or 6 games. I told them that before the season, so they're irrelevant.
Well, it is what it is. So you guys actually have a bye week this week with the Chargers.
Oh no, don't you go there, right?
Okay.
Just talk about your cupcake game in a minute, okay?
Oh.
Listen,
Okay.
we don't play well against the Chargers. We haven't. We beat them a few years ago with Andy Reid on a block field goal, run back for a touchdown. But we're beat up on defense, man, and
Not only
Rivers can throw the ball.
not on Darren Sproles, man. I mean, the guy broke his arm and his knee in the same play. I mean, how the hell do you have that happen? That's a hellacious hit when you get two injuries in one. I think that's going to hurt you guys.
It's the end. It's done. This was his last season. He's retiring after the season, so.
But yeah, you guys are definitely banged up, just like Green Bay is. But we'll talk about Green Bay another time. But it's in L.A., isn't it? In the StubHub Center. You going to that game?
From me, I got some friends that are here from Philly. I'm going to meet up with them.
Well, I hear they can't give away tickets to that place.
You know what? You know how much tickets cost to go to that place? Now, that'd be a great place to watch a game. It only holds like 25,000, I think.
Yeah,
something like that. $60 a piece. Get out of here, man.
You got to be kidding me.
Oh, too bad we're not playing
60. Okay, see, NFL, you screwed yourself on that one because wow. I'm sitting here. Here's how sad it is. I'm sitting here looking at tickets for the Redskin Dallas game here in Washington at that freaking toxic dump they call a football field, FedEx Field, and we're talking about the nosebleed seats are like 190 some bucks. You know, I'm like, for that dump, I'm talking 400 level. You got to be kidding me. To get anything even close down midway up, we're talking about 350 and up. You're telling me $60 in a 27,000 seat arena?
$160. They say every seat. Those are for the bad seats, but even they're supposed to be really good seats. So
wow. Yeah, the NFL screwed up bringing them to LA because LA doesn't care. I don't think LA will ever embrace them, and they've definitely lost the Charger fan base.
How would you feel if they pulled your team all out over the place? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's a mistake them taking the Raiders to Vegas. But then again, I'd love to go see a game in Vegas. Oh man, that's like a whole weekend trip, But that fan base with the Raiders, you don't want to lose that. I mean, they are so unique. Those are such diehard people. I'd actually hate to see them go. And I hear that they're actually talking about keeping the Raiders there until 2020. They were going to take them out earlier, so they are going to stay a few more years. And I think they realize maybe we don't want to yank a team out like we did with the Chargers. But
right.
So, what is your biggest surprise for your team this season thus far? What do you feel best about?
Well, I mean, I'll talk about what it is instead of the potential. I like how Carson Wentz is progressing.
Mm-hmm.
Only had a fourth quarter comeback against Giants, even though they're terrible. Still a division rival.
Yeah.
Probably my biggest surprise would be the way our secondary's been playing. Without
as beat as they've been. Yeah. Well, I got to tell you,
played well when we lost Hicks and Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
And you saw what happened in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's number 8.
Okay. Not that I'm worried for myself or anything, but I think you guys got to do a better job of protecting Wentz because he's getting hit a hell of a lot, and you don't want him. You don't want him to become Andrew Luck.
Well, listen. Here's what they did last week. They shuffled up the line a little bit. They pulled out Salamalu and put in Wisniewski. All the big runs came. They have Chance Warmack and Wisniewski. They both were both free agents to be picked up. They alternated them during the game, which is crazy.
Right.
But the big runs came when Wisniewski was in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. That's my biggest concern. But I think that you're going to see a difference. But we're playing a pretty good defense. You got Bosa and that other dude there.
Bosa is a beast now. There's no lie about it. He was one of those guys that was kind of like, I'm not sure he's going to be that great. But, yeah, Bosa is becoming a beast. So, yeah, you're right.
I wish you took Elliott. Damn it. That would have been great.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even have a discussion about Dak Prescott. Tony Romo was going to be your quarterback.
Oh, okay. Listen, don't bring up Tony Romo. Okay, I'm going to say something. I'm going to piss some people off, though. But I'm not a real big fan of Tony Romo as a commentator. The whole predicting the play, everybody's like, oh, he's going to tell you what I don't want to hear that. Let the thing happen and let's discuss what happened. I don't want to be. it's kind of like watching the game after the fact. You already know who's going to win.
He gets a little too hyped up. He's like kind of John Gruden-ish. He needs to settle down a little bit.
And he'll probably get better. I'm just like, everybody's just like, oh, he's the greatest. And I'm kind of like, pump the brakes a little bit there. And don't send me your hate mail, because I know I still have a lot of Tony Romo eds out there and stuff that are going to go ahead and cuss me out because you still want him to be playing. But I'm sorry, I'm not that crazy just yet. Give me some more time. Maybe it'll come. It's kind of like, slow down with this predicting every single play. It's kind of like, oh, here we go again. Oh, okay. All right. I'm hoping that maybe one of these coaches will go ahead and say, this is what we do when we line up, and they're actually kind of playing around so that way he'll look like an idiot. But, again, don't send me your hate mail. So, your thoughts on my Dallas Cowboys after their big comeback in Arizona? Do they scare you?
It went pretty much like I thought it would. I thought it would win. I thought that Elliott would have a bigger game. I'm kind of surprised he only had 80 yards rushing, but Arizona's got a good defense.
Okay.
Dak Prescott pretty much he managed the game is what he did, in my opinion. And that's what he's a good fit for your team.
No. You know what? Here's my exact words. What Dak Prescott did, so he basically put the team on his back. He basically said, fuck you, Joe Boo. No, he said, fuck you, Joe Boo. I'm going to do it myself. And he ran that sucker in, and that team jumped on the bandwagon and got fired up. Because then all of a sudden you saw Dez Bryant dragging people across the line. You saw Zeke Elliott going through and now all of a sudden picking up yards. That team followed his lead, and it changed the complex of that game. So don't tell me this whole thing he just managed the game. Because not crap. There was not jack crap going right for that team until he ran that touchdown in there. Don't tell me that everything else that he just managed the game. Zeke Elliott wasn't doing jack. The offensive line couldn't block anybody. Zeke Elliott, as soon as he got the ball, had guys in his face, and he literally took that game over.
What were his numbers for the game?
2 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, I think about 220 yards, and a rushing touchdown.
It's management, man.
Oh, come on. Okay. You know what? I think Jim's calling you right now, Tommy. I think it's time for you to go, buddy. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Look, listen. He's not a bad quarterback. So if you think that's what I'm thinking,
okay.
We can't make a judgment on them until after next season.
Okay.
No matter what happens this season.
Okay. All right, after next season, okay. But I got to tell you, I don't think your quarterback's going to be upright by the end of the season with the hits he's taking.
Watch the game on Sunday.
I will be.
Take less hits.
I will be. I enjoyed the game last week. It was kind of like one of those things like, the Eagles are now getting their ass kicked. I wouldn't be mad about that. That'll drop them back a little bit. But then the Giants get their hearts ripped out. Well, I'm okay with it. It was kind of like, I just hope both of you die.
Yeah, we're not though. We're rising, and we're gonna win the division without a doubt because we're gonna beat you in Philly week 17. It's gonna be beautiful.
Friends, you now know why we call him a moron. Okay. Have you gotten everything straightened out on your YouTube channel yet, there, buddy?
I will, Mark. You know what I mean? I'm in my second week of physical therapy, and I got a lot going on.
Okay.
I haven't made videos yet. I've been slacking.
All right. Well, you got to get this stuff together, man. This season's flying by. We're already week number 4, man. And we definitely want to keep you around and definitely make your channel grow up and stuff, man. So, everybody, that's Tom Donnelly. He's still working on his YouTube channel, getting the stuff together, but he's a moron, so it'll take him some time. So, forgive him. But he's a great friend of mine, great Eagle fan, that goes to show you that win, lose, or draw, he mans up, unlike you stinking giant trolls who've all disappeared. See, I got no respect for you. I got respect for Tommy the Moron. Tommy, thank you very much, man. I will see you soon. Well, in fact, let's get you after the game. Yeah. All right.
Hey.
So, everybody, that was my buddy Tom Donnelly. And see, here's what we're doing. It's the Joe Boo Sports Report, and we're going to take time out and talk to some of these other teams and stuff in our division because, in the end, these games matter. What the Eagles do, what the Giants do, and all that affects what we're going to have in our season and making the playoffs. So it's important to keep up with them, find out what's going on. The Giants, the Eagles, I got to tell you, Carson Wentz is getting sacked a lot. I think that he may end up getting hurt before the season is over with. My buddy thinks that Dak is just a game manager. Well, I got to tell you, I think he's dead wrong. I think Dak actually took the leadership role, put the team on his back, and willed them to win last week when things just weren't going right. So let me get to some of you guys' questions. I hope you guys enjoy Tommy. Like I said, he's a fun dude, and he's working on getting his YouTube channel together. Good friend of mine for about 5 or 6 years now. Break his neck. What the heck? No, I'm trying. Alex, come on, man. Let's not be cold to Tommy. Now, that's one of those soft spots for him, man. He knows that they've never tasted sweet Super Bowl victory. We can't just rub it his face in there. We want him to keep coming back now. He takes chances. Okay. No, but he's just like takes chances waiting with star receiver. Okay. We own the division without question. I agree with that. Well, Dez Bryant, man. Why is it everybody is burying Dez Bryant? You got Michael Lombardi just basically trashing him. You've got everybody who's out there saying that Dez Bryant is no longer a number one receiver. You know what? I'm going to tell you that he's basically played against 3 of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, and the team is still not quite together yet. It's not like you saw Cole Beasley out there catching 150 yards of passes or Terrence Williams, and Dez is just not doing anything. The whole offense has been a little bit missing and not quite there yet. Why? Because we've been playing really good defenses. Now, you're going to see him feasting on some games here, and I'm not ready to go ahead and give up on Dez just yet. Simps 547. I would. I don't know about resting through the bye week. I would check this week and see where that leg is and see how severe that hamstring pull is, and evaluate it next week. If it's anywhere near as bad as they're saying, I would definitely rest him this week. Jordan, I'm sorry, but the whole game manager, it's kind of like they don't want to give a guy enough credit to me. When they say, God, I don't want to go there with this stuff. But for whatever reason, they'll say a black quarterback is very athletic, whereas a white quarterback, they'll say he's really smart, and it's this athletic ability. No, but, and I hate that everything is about color still. He's just a quarterback. But this whole game manager stuff, it's bullshit. A guy is a leader. He's getting people to follow him. You look at him being able to make those runs, where he's rolling out those naked bootlegs, where he is running, boom, dead on, 50 yards downfield for a touchdown pinpoint accuracy. That's not a game manager. And for people to say, oh, he's just a game manager. Okay, guys, people are saying that he's not quite there. He's not doing a great job. Against the defense he's played, 5 TD passes, 1 rushing touchdown, and almost 700 yards, 88.9, QBR. That's not exactly the bottom tier of the NFL against good defenses when your offensive line really wasn't doing it. Your running back the week before had 9 rushing yards and only 80-some this week. It's not like he wasn't the reason that they won. I can't say that we won last week because of Zeke Elliott. Can you? Can you say we won because of Zeke's running? No. I'd say the 2 touchdown passes and his run were the reason why we run. That wasn't Zeke Elliott. That was Dak Prescott. Chad, well, Dak is definitely one of my favorites. Roger Staubach, though, I still have to say, because Roger's still up here with me, because I guess that was a quarterback that I grew up on. And I'm like you, Clinton, I hate Aaron Rodgers. Jeff, I don't think that First Take would want me to take Stephen A. Smith's job because, he is the accident waiting to happen. He is the drama queen out there. He is the lightning rod that they have, and he is really one of the few things that they have going for him anymore. And to me, ESPN, it's actually sad where ESPN has kind of gone. It used to be when you really wanted to know sports, you would go to ESPN, and they would definitely get the real deal. And instead of telling you what's going on, you would see the facts, you would see the highlights, and you could make your own judgment. But now everything has gone to that same format as First Take, and it all stems from PTI, Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser. Great show. Those two guys actually had real conversations about sports, and that's been the show that has launched 1,000 ships. And now it's just kind of like those ships are just crap now. Everything is who can shout louder than the other and stuff. It's just not fun anymore. And I think that's why the ratings and stuff are going down, and why more and more people are tuning into YouTube, because you get tired of listening to the same thing. Junior Muth, I agree with you. I'm actually disappointed with ESPN, because I was a huge ESPN fan. I remember when they came out and said there's going to be a 24-hour sports channel. We were like, how can you have 24 hours of sports? There's not that much sports in the world. Because we were used to having, ABC's Wild World of Sports that came on for an hour on Saturdays, or George Michael's Sports Machine for 30 minutes on Sunday nights. That was it. But you're talking about 24 hours of sports, 7 days a week. But they used to deliver. They had great sports journalism, great stories, and now it's just freaking reality shows. And it's sad. It really, really is sad. NFL Network is a little bit better, but you still have the same guys like Heath Evans, who, his whole thing is, the Dallas Cowboys stink, and, the New England Patriots were great when I was there, and the New Orleans Saints were great. It's like, dude, come on, man. It's enough with the hate. So, anyway, ESPN doesn't want me. Cliff A, I'm looking at the next generation, like my son over there, who, basically he has his Roku TV and the internet, and he doesn't do regular TV except for games and stuff. And that's kind of the way the future is going. And that's why ESPN is evolving into the reality show, because let's be honest, on the internet, you have to be the loudest one to get the attention. I mean, people stopped originally because it's an old guy with a doll. What the hell is he doing with the doll? And hopefully you stay, because maybe there's some substance behind it. Ricky Lee, thank you.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
A game manager does not sacrifice himself for the way he does to score. He brings life to the team. Amen. Ricky Lee, thank you for the super chat there, buddy. It's definitely going to be put to good use. And you just hit the nail on the head, because Dak lays it on the line. Dak is not a running quarterback, but if I have to run to do what I have to do to get this team going, I will do it. And that's what I love about the guy. He is a guy that gives it all to the team. It's not going to be one of those guys that, man, I'm not putting my self out there for that. No, Dak is going to do whatever it takes. You saw when he had that interception, he was there trying to make the tackle. And I'll be honest with you, you know what, Dak? I wish you had pulled a Zeke, because I don't want you risk getting one of these guys blindsiding you and losing you, because you are that valuable to this team. We cannot afford for you to get hurt. So, Ricky Lee, thank you very much. Now, that brings me to one other thing I need to do here, guys. I want to tell you about something that's really, really special that I am a part of, and I hope that you guys will check it out. Hey friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. Now, guys, here's an opportunity to win the ultimate Super Bowl package with Prizeo, United Way, and the NFL. Now, I got to tell you guys, this is like the dream trip of a lifetime. We're talking about airfare to get you to Minnesota, as well as 2 club-level seats. Now, if that wasn't enough, we're talking about tickets to the NFL PA party. And I'm talking about players galore. DeMar Smith knows how to party. Believe me, I've been there and seen it, and you definitely don't want to miss it. Of course, there's even tickets for the NFL Commissioners Party, where all the owners will be there. Jerry Jones will have his own table. I got to meet him there last year as well. There's also, you're going to be at the press conference for the halftime show, and pre-game sideline passes. That's right, pre-game sideline passes. We're talking about a can't-buy opportunity. And on top of it, the best part is you're supporting United Way and Character Playbook, helping the next generation. So, guys, all you got to do is go to Prizeo.com, /campaign, /Cowboy Joe Boo, and you can enter it. Now, look, for $10, you get 100 chances of winning. For $75, you actually get a T-shirt as well. as 750 chances. So go ahead, guys, hit this link right here, check it out, and enter so that way you can help spread that mojo, and maybe you guys can be there at the Super Bowl. Now, I got to tell you, a lot of you will say, nobody ever wins these things. It's a waste of time. I'm going to get spammed. But I got to tell you, I told you guys back before the draft, go to this whole site, deal with doing the whole thing, and you guys would have the opportunity to go to the draft. But not enough of you guys did it. I ended up going there and covering the winners. Some New York stinking Giants fans. That's right, I had to spend the draft with some New York stinking Giant fans. Now, guys, there would be nothing worse than having to spend the Super Bowl with somebody other than a Dallas Cowboy fan. So this is your opportunity to be covered by Joe Boo at the Super Bowl. Hey, it's worth a shot. I'm Mark Holmes. I'm Cowboy Joe Boo, and I'm hoping I'm covering you at this year's Super Bowl. Well, hopefully that played real well. I'm still working on getting that computer built, and that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. But really, you guys know I believe in giving back, and United Way does a fantastic job with all of us in the community and stuff, from character playbook to helping to rebuild lives. And when you look at Houston and Florida as well as Puerto Rico, we are definitely going to need United Way and organizations like it. But dudes, I'm telling you, this is one of those things that you think that nobody's going to win. But if you ever buy a lottery ticket, I'm going to tell you your odds, and I wish I could tell you on some of these contests how few people actually enter. Your odds are really, really good, and I'm telling you guys, if instead of giving me a super chat or anything like that, donate to United Way because they're a great organization. And if you get a chance to win this, I'm telling you, the Super Bowl is an experience like none other in the world. And I've been blessed to have gone to quite a few of them and done work and stuff for them and things like that. But dudes, you're talking about 400,000 people in a city having a party. And I just hope that someday before I die, that I'll be at a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm hoping that it's this year, and I'm hoping that it's one of you guys. So definitely, the link is actually right over here. If you guys want to see it, prizeo.com. Definitely check it out. And you got until December to do it. But do that. Support United Way and help your fellow man. So anyway, somebody was talking about Will McClay. And I got to tell you, Will McClay is going to be in big demand next year. That guy has been lights out, and it's probably the best move that Jerry Jones has ever made, putting him headed for the scouting department. And Jerry Jones is going to have to back up the Brinks truck to him or just go ahead and say, you're my GM. And the time to do that is now, because there's no team that has drafted over the last 6 years as many Pro Bowl players as we have. He's put the talent on the field without a doubt. He has found gems where nobody else looked. When you look at taking David Irving off a practice squad in Kansas City and turning him into a 4-sack guy who this year we look to have a lot from him after he comes back from suspension after this week. It's unbelievable. You look at, finding Anthony Brown with the trade we made with the Raiders to get Bryce Butler here. Anthony Brown in the 6th round. That guy has been lights out, and first-round draft picks have been unbelievable. I mean, when you talk about Tyron Smith, you're talking about Travis Frederick, you're talking about Zach Martin, you're talking about, Byron Jones still has a ways to go, but still a great player. You're talking about Dez Bryant. You're talking about a guy that has put more talent on the field you can't argue with. That's not been our Cowboys' problem. So Jerry Jones is going to have to find a way to keep him, because there's a lot of teams that are going to say, you know what, if we can get a guy that can put that kind of talent here, we'll win, and they will back up the truck. And he says he has unfinished business here, and he wants to win a Super Bowl here. But money talks and BS walks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after that. Am I going to the Green Bay game? I've started to go to that. I wanted to go to that. But unfortunately, my wife is going to be in New Orleans. So somebody's got to be here with all those dogs that you hear running around. So we're trying to figure out what games we're going to go to this year. We're definitely, any of you guys who are in the Washington, D.C. area and that may be going to the Redskin-Dallas game, we are going to have a big tailgate. Me, Michael, and a bunch of you friends that are out there. Clarence actually is one of my neighbors around here. He's definitely going to be going. I got my friend who's a huge Dallas Cowboy fan, looks like Debo, actually trying to convince him that we might need to go to Philadelphia. And he's like, he's a DC cop. He's like, if you want to go to Philadelphia, I'll be sure that Joe Boo gets in and out safe. So we're working on some things. Unfortunately, my day job has been kicking my ass, and I've got work all over the place. But me and Michael are looking at trying to go to the Philadelphia Dallas Cowboy game in Dallas. So we'll see where that goes, but we'll definitely be in Dallas for at least one, if not two games. With all the talk about Zeke, he needs to grow up. Well, I think Zeke has actually done quite a bit of growing up recently. I think this whole situation has gotten to be ugly. And I think actually a lot of it's playing on his mental state right now. I think part of the reason why you don't see him running the way he was running with the Fury is there's so much going on. How you doing tonight, Sarah? It's great to see you here as always tonight. Sarah, you make a very good point because you got Lyle Collins there, who's starting again at right tackle after playing guard and missing all of last year. Chaz Green, I'm still not quite sold on, but he'll get better as time goes on. Jerry, the GM, president and owner. Yeah, well, Jerry needs to get over that stuff too. Any update on Randy Gregory? Well, Randy Gregory is suspended, of course, for all of this year. Nobody's talked about whether or not he's passing any drug tests or anything else, but we know he hasn't failed anymore. I don't know if he's cleaned up or not. I think the Cowboys are keeping him on the roster just in case the NFL changes their outlook on weed, which is a possibility because, when you hear guys like the Redskins right tackle, his name slips me right now, who got busted for smoking weed last year, who said, I take it, I'm smoking it because it helps alleviate some of the pain. And when you see guys that are getting knocked out senseless, the NFL has got to do something. You start seeing guys that are spending the nights in the hospital from violent hits. When you hear, like Nolan Carroll was out last week and got sent home for concussion symptoms. When you hear about Rico Gathers, from one hit who's on injured reserve, that they've got to do some stuff on the field because if they don't, it's going to get bad. And maybe it's the new helmets that we're talking about. Maybe it's being able to smoke weed and things like that. Who knows? But something's got to get done because, it's the worst thing in the world to lose these guys when valuable marquee players, as well as these guys having to deal with this stuff the rest of their life. Rico Gathers, last word was he was still suffering concussion symptoms, and he won't be back on the field any sooner than week 8 because he's on injured reserve. Kellen Moore cut to bring back David Irving. I don't think they'll cut Kevin Moore because they definitely will want to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster. So I don't think that'll be the guy. Weed's for sale across the street. Well, weed is pretty much everywhere. Now here's what's interesting in Washington, D.C. It's actually legal to possess small amounts of weed, but you can't sell it. So there's some places in Adams Morgan, I'm told, that what they do is they sell like overpriced mugs, and they'll put a couple grams of weed in it. So they're really selling weed, but they're not really selling weed, if you know what I mean. So weed is getting to be more and more acceptable across the country, and it's just really, I think, a matter of time before the NFL adopts it. I'm not a weed smoker. I'll say that flat out. I'm not holding against anybody who does. I mean, that's their own personal choice. But when you think about some of the prescription medications, is weed any worse than some of these prescriptions? Because I know from my back, I get prescriptions. I go to the doctor and they give me a prescription with 5 refills of 100 tablets of 800 milligram ibuprofen. It's like, here you go, get 5 more refills. So I've got like 500 tablets of them, anytime I want. So is smoking weed any worse than some of the prescription drugs? And when you start hearing about some of the people that are hooked on different pain meds and stuff, maybe it's not any worse. So maybe the NFL really needs to take a look at it. Y'all broke Zeke. You got what they want. Oh, the NFL definitely broke him. They may not have suspended him, but they definitely put a hurting on him. Switzer, they're bringing him in slowly. He's another one of those guys that have had the hamstring injuries, that we've been famous for this year. But, they're getting him out there on punt return. They're getting him actually on the offense a little bit. They're going to bring him along slowly and make him kind of like the secret weapon. And I'm actually enjoying that myself. You're right about that, Joshua. You can smell weed everywhere in D.C. Sam, man, that's a good idea. They definitely need to move Dez around more for more mismatches. Well, see, I think the offense in general, I think that they got the mentality of we're big, bad, best offensive line in football. All we have to do is show up and we'll just bulldoze over everybody. Well, teams are putting in different tweaks, different stunts and things like that. They're putting more and more pressure on the offensive line, and we have to adapt. You notice how when we started doing more bootlegs, starting to get Dak to move the pocket and things like that, we started to do more and more things. So we got to realize that, we have a great offensive line, but we've got to do some surprises. We got to change some stuff up, and moving Dez around would definitely be a great idea. Yeah, Keith Smith, who actually originally was a linebacker before they made him a fullback, he's been working out, at least with scout team, as a linebacker. So it is a possibility if Sean Lee is out, he would end up being a backup. What's the biggest threat this weekend is definitely Todd Gurley, running like crazy, as well as Aaron Donald pass rushing. If we can stop Aaron Donald in his tracks, that's going to help a lot for our offense. And as long as we don't let Todd Gurley get going, we should be okay. And if we put some pressure on Jared Goff, I think we've got this. Well, thank you, Alex, for tuning in. I appreciate the love. Well, Cliff, I agree. Dez definitely gets more attention because they realize, if you can shut down Dez, you don't want him to beat you on the big pass. And if you can shut him down, then that's going to help to shut down the offense. So they're definitely focusing on him. I like that, Johnny. Zeke needs to say F it and start eating again. There you go. Tony, thank you.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Shout out to Duke City there. I don't know where Duke City is, but hey, thank you very much, Tony. Daniel, I hope we can both agree with that. I think the Chiefs are going to definitely beat the Redskins. The Washington Redskins, believe it or not, have never won at Arrowhead Stadium. That's right. They have never, in their long-ass history, beat the Chiefs in there. So hopefully we keep that streak alive. Okay, Bond Breaker. Okay. Glad that one was blocked. God, wouldn't you love to have Aaron Donald? When that draft was up, I was like, we got to get Aaron Donald. Please draft Aaron Donald. But we just missed him. And I wanted to get Calais Campbell. I wouldn't mind trading for Calais Campbell because Calais would be a beast. But I'm okay with our defensive line. I think we actually have a good rotation. A lot of people have been talking about Taco is missing. But the problem for Taco is other guys are just playing really well, and he can't get on the field yet. And I'm okay with that. Let him learn some more. Let him watch a bit and work his behind in there slowly until he gets, gets his legs underneath him. Mark, you can dodge, but y'all broke Zeke. Arnold Zander, I can't say we broke Zeke. I say the NFL broke Zeke, if anything. Do I think we go undefeated in NFC East games? That would be a tall order because division games are always tough. Always tough. And it doesn't matter what the records are. I remember when we were 1-15, the only victory we had was against the playoff-bound Washington Redskins. So that would be a tall order. It'd be great if we did, but I can't guarantee that one. O-line has been great. It's advertised so far. No, the O-line's got some work to do, but we have been playing some really good defenses, and I think they'll get it together before the season's over. Johnny, well, That's a good question. I wonder if we do get our War Daddy in the next draft with Camp D-Law. I think they'll find a way to keep DeMarcus Lawrence because DeMarcus Lawrence, if he continues on the path that he is, he's still relatively young. He has had that back injuries and stuff, but he's still, got plenty of wear and tear that he can do on him. And they can sign him to a team-friendly contract. They do have, they're $15 million under the cap right now, and you'll probably end up seeing some cap-saving moves that are done, like Tyron Crawford might not be here next year, as well as a few other guys. So they can make it work if they want to. Okay. Wow, it is 10 o'clock already, guys? I can't believe it. Time always seems to fly by whenever I'm here with you guys. I appreciate all the support, all the super chats. Thank you very much. Everybody who comes in here and talks about the Dallas Cowboys, even you trolls that make it in here, I appreciate all that. Thanks to Tom Donnelly for joining the show. He's a great guy, even though he is an Eagle fan. And you guys, I look forward to Friday and Mondays just so we can live stream. And, of course, I definitely look to Sunday. So Sunday we'll do a live stream starting at 12:30 before kickoff. We'll do a halftime live stream and a post game. So, guys, thank you very much for all the support, and thank you guys for supporting the Joe Blue Sports Report. I will see you guys real soon, and, of course, if there's any breaking news on the Cowboys, I'll be bringing it here to you first. Keep spreading the mojo, and I'll see you soon.